Halo 1 Mission 3 Part 1 Audio Description Truth and Reconciliation. It's nighttime as the UNSC Pelican dropship drops off Master Chief and Spartan, armed with an assault rifle and sniper rifle each. The squad then takes a knee and listens to Cortana's briefing. The cutscene begins.
The enemy has captured Captain Keyes and are holding him aboard one of their cruisers, the Truth and Reconciliation. The ship is currently holding position approximately 300 meters above the other end of this plateau.
So how do we get inside the ship if it's in the air? The Corps issued me a rifle, not wings.
There's a gravity lift that ferries troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our ticket in.
Once we get inside the ship, I should be able to lock on to the tracking signal from Captain Keyes' neural implants.
Hit 'em, Marines! Go, go, go! The Corps ain't paying us by the hour!
Stick to the higher ground to the right. We should be able to recon the Covenant position without being spotted. I've detected Covenant stationary guns near the next pass. I recommend using your sniper rifle to take out the gunners while I call for Marine support.
Get ready to move in to support us, Sergeant. The Master Chief is going to covertly take out as many of the Covenant as he can. Don't open fire until you hear the enemy return fire on us. That should let us keep the element of surprise.
The squad is on a narrow path on a cliffside of a mountain, which is full of brush, illuminated only by the flashlights of each of their assault rifles. Proceeding through a chasm which is just larger than shoulder width, Chief hides in a bush and observes the scene ahead. The illuminated shields jackals are wielding can be seen patrolling by an unmanned and placed turret on a tripod. Chief takes aim with his sniper rifle, aiming at an unsuspecting jackal, pulls the trigger and blasts the jackal in the back of his bird-like head. The jet stream of the bullet can be seen through the scope as Chief begins to look for his next target. The rocks to the left begin to emit little beams of light as a squad of elites and grunts begin scurrying for the upcoming battle. As the purple elite is focusing on Spartan, Chief hits him square in his right temple, spewing a yellow splash of blood, however not killing him. He aims at a grunt, who ducks at the last minute. He shifts his focus back to the wounded elite, and a quick shot to his elongated neck finishes the job. Spartan is on a raised platform just slightly above, garnering most of the enemy's attention, as he also begins to fire. The squad of Marines begin to push up while Chief creeps up on the left, ducking behind a rock for a second to reload since the sniper only holds 4 large rounds. Chief watches the enemy movements for a second, before swapping to his rifle and moving along rocks to the left. There's an opening in the valley further down, as well as another unmanned and placed gun. A few grunts are standing there. Chief throws a grenade at them before bunkering down behind a rock to defend against the units coming his way. Killing the grunts, Chief stands up and looks back to see Spartan leading the squad closely behind him. 4 grunts turn the corner to reinforce their allies. However, the combined firing line cuts them down like Swiss cheese. The UNSC squad heads along a tight cliffside. 2 more jackal shields can be seen through the brush. However, those Spartans rush right up to them and send so many bullets their way it doesn't even matter. Passing through another series of bushes where ahead there are more rocks and a small plateau lined with enemy troops. Chief begins to flush them out with his rifle as Spartan stays back a bit to pick them off with his sniper. The AR isn't effective at this range, so Chief advances. The green blast of a jackal's plasma pistol narrowly missing his head before Spartan hits his shield with a heavy blast of his sniper. The blast forces him back, turning him and exposing his body, where Spartan takes him out with a well-placed shot. Chief heads towards the fray, but when he passes the bush, he sees it's not one grunt, but an entire squad. A hidden elite rushes him, takes a mighty leap back while reloading, lands on a health pack. Another elite rushes from behind. Chief knows the best defense is a good offense, so he charges right into the one coming behind him, bashes his rifle right into his roaring mouth. A quick scan of the higher ground as Chief dives behind a rock to reload. The squad taking cover behind rocks and trees, firing at a grunt and the turret above. Spartan is moving up on the left, taking heavy fire from the large purple blast of the turret. One of the Marines gets lucky, and the turret firing stops. That squad got the jump on Chief last time, but now it's time to finish the fight. He throws a grenade into the bush and charges in, only to find 3 dead grunts on the floor. He continues along the cliffside, beside the plateau, carefully checking for an ambush that doesn't come. He rounds the bottom of the plateau to find a purple elite standing on a hill, waiting to see where the battle he heard was coming from. Chief shoots him right in the nape of the neck, though the shields provided too much defense for the kill. Chief runs in, and no scopes headshots him. Feeling pretty content with himself, Chief reloads, as the elite's grunts start throwing grenades towards the oncoming squad of Marines that were just behind Chief. Chief, angry that his moment's reprieve might have put Marines in danger, he runs up and kills the 2 grunts, reloads, and continues towards 3 more coming down a small mountain path. Chief blasts one, but Spartan and Marines take out the others. Quick nod to his comrades, Chief reloads and heads along the mountain path from which the grunts came.
Covenant forces detected up ahead. The path up on the left should let us sneak up around them.
It's another tight cliffside path, and in the sky we see a huge orange planet. Chief turns off his flashlight and crouches. Another turret can be seen in the plateau ahead. The squad stops where the cliffside path meets the next plateau, just a few feet away under a grunt man turret. Marines stand by, ready to ambush. Chief and Spartan begin to sneak around before seeing Elite patrolling on the edge of the plateau. Chief crouches and takes out his sniper and hits the unsuspecting maw of the Elite, sending his lifeless husk back, as a giant purple light can be seen in the sky above. It's the grav bridge's connection to the ship.
Cortana to Fire Team Charlie. Move up on the left. You should be able to flank the enemy.
Chief shoots the grunt manning the turret just above the Marine. As the Marines blow up the turret, Spartan goes back down the cliffside to flank around. Chief ducks behind a rock. There's a dip below and a raised stone bridge in the middle, where two jackals with a yellow and blue shield are approaching. Chief engages the two as their shields deflect his sniper shots. Chief tries to shoot the plasma pistol out of the yellow's hand. However, he misses. Hits the shield, which pushes it back. Chief tries to shoot the plasma pistol out of the yellow jackal's hand. However, he misses and hits the shield, pushing him back. The blue shielded jackal nervously rolls to the right, creating an opening for Chief to take him out. The yellow one runs away towards the other end of the stone bridge. Chief fires but misses as the jackal ducks away behind a rock. Chief swaps out for his AR and begins pushing up the bridge. Chief on the bridge begins firing at two grunts on a nearby ledge to the right. The spray of the gun prevents any kills at this distance, and the two scatter. Chief turns around to take stock of his allies. Spartan and the Marines are firing down into the valley below, on the left side of the bridge. Chief circles down the natural hill. Chief switches back to his sniper as he's taking some needler fire from an enemy below. He scoots to the side and headshots one of the scattered grunts before he can get to a turret. A few more grunts litter the valley below in a state of panic. Heeding Cortana's warning, Chief runs up to the right side of the hill and reaches one of the placed turrets near the opposite end of the stone bridge. The red blips from the motion detector light up, insinuating enemies are coming from the crevice below. Chief waits a moment so as to not give away his position, and then jumps to the other turret a few feet away on the stone bridge. He looks to have a better sightline of the area below. Spartan and the Marines are on the opposite side of the bridge, by the first destroyed turret, firing down the hill. As the Covenant take cover from the Marines firing from above, Chief lets loose large purple blasts of the turret. The purple gun levitating above a tripod recoils after every shot. Purple fire is coming from Chief's right, as a new dropship has released reinforcements from the cliffside, the path that the Marines took originally. The Spartans and Marines have better positioning as the Covenant have to push up the hill to get cut down quickly.
We're directly under the ship now.
Alright, are we bad or what? If we're gonna board that thing, we need a plan.
The Covenant use a gravity lift to move troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. We need to ambush them at the grav lift's loading zone and use the lift to enter the ship.
As the conversation went on, Chief found an active camo upgrade, making him invisible. It was a clear pyramid about 1 foot tall, with a blue orb inside. Chief and his allies regroup, and he takes a moment to look off the cliff and see the mountainside below, as well as the large orange planet above once again. The squad heads through a crevice in the mountain where the first bit of reinforcements came, by the stone bridge. As they continue on, unfortunately, Chief's camo times out before it was useful, and he becomes visible again. The crevice leads to an opening. The squad is coming from 6 o'clock. At 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, there are raised hills that encircle the gravity well. A purple light extends from the Covenant ship and the well's ground. The encircled high ground have stationary guns positioned around and facing the gravity well. Where the crevice meets the opening of the gravity well's area, a grunt is sleeping by a tree. Chief begins to creep towards it, as a 2-jackal patrol is walking through the rocks in the middle. Chief bashes the sleeping grunt in the face as the rest of the Covenant scramble to their battle stations.
Crap! Those stationary guns are gonna tear us to pieces!
Chief runs up the hill, on the right to the first gun, and starts blasting the grunts before they can man the weaponry. He hops on the gun and uses it against the other defending forces. The forces at 1 o'clock of the gravity well are blocked by a tree, so he turns his attention to the other forces at 7 o'clock. The Marines sit below at the well 6 as Spartan approaches Chief. Chief dismounts as they head towards the remaining forces behind cover. Chief leaps over a rock that the grunt was hiding behind, yells boo, and the grunt immediately ran out of cover into Spartan's fire. Chief jumps on the nearest turret and looks back from where he came as the Marines are fighting enemies from behind. Spartan begins to head towards the fighting as a large Covenant dropship lands at the well's 12 o'clock. Chief fires at it with the turret, but the turret's blasts are no effect on the dropship, which is beginning to fire back. But even on Legendary, none of the shots it fired hit Chief, so they must have had an intern on that turret today. Despite the abysmal show of force of both parties, the Covenant drop another squad. Chief's base of fire forces the enemies to run for the nearest cover. The volleys of purple light blasts make it difficult to tell if anything is finding its purchase. A Marine takes cover in the gravity well itself and is shooting upwards on the flank of the Covenant reinforcements. A new squad of aliens comes down from the gravity well, appearing behind the poor Marine. Chief turns his fire to help, taking out only a few. The Marine ends up like all Space Marines do in any sci-fi universe. A new squad appears down from the gravity well, right into Chief's purple barrage. Taking some hits from a turret across the way. Chief hops off, pulls out his sniper, takes out the grunt on the turret, before hopping back onto his own and firing at a new deployed squad. Spartan and Marines right to the left of him, a strong base of fire shooting down towards the gravity well. After that squad is cut down, yet another squad is deployed. These are smart enough to run the opposite direction. The gravity well's 11 o'clock. Finding it less effective, Chief pops off the turret and begins a circle from the well's 4 o'clock to the well's 2 o'clock and starts taking sniper shots at the grunt. The first shot misses before Chief takes an extra moment to get the killing shot. The third squad drops down. Chief looks for a nearby cover. He hits a quick headshot on a jackal. He aims at another one who just notices Chief's position, just as Spartan blasts him with a sniper, throwing his body back. Spartan throws a frag grenade, and before it detonates, a dying grunt drops 2 of the Covenant sticky grenades. Spartan's frag grenade explodes and causes a chain reaction of explosions as the well is rocked with blue fire, sending every Covenant force flying in different directions. A new squad appears as the carnage is cleared, an elite, 3 grunts and 2 jacks. They must have learned from their predecessors as they immediately charge off the well towards the Spartans and Marines. No luck, as they're completely exposed to UNSC forces. Chief begins to advance towards the gravity well himself. Chief from the gravity well's 12. And Spartan from the gravity well 6. Pincer, the next squad. They take him out quick, but again another squad comes down. As Chief charges in with his AR blazing, an elite lands just a foot in front of Chief, who jumps back and throws his 2 sticky grenades, eliminating most of the squad, though the elite dodges out of the way. Chief and the elite's eyes lock. As Chief runs behind cover to reload, the elite doesn't want to give Chief that rest. Chief takes a couple needle shots, breaking his shield. He throws a grenade that misses the elite and a jackal that was coming his way. The 2 trade blows before Chief hits the elite in the face with a massive strike, killing it. Facing the well now, the remaining jackals and grunts are scared. Chief jumps towards cover to reload and gets his shields back up. Popping out of cover, a quick shot on an unsuspecting jackal sends it flying back as if it was hit by a truck. Chief and Spartan breathe a sigh of relief as it finally seems quiet. They begin to loot the bodies and prepare themselves for advancing on the ship. Chief goes to look for ammo on the area above as Spartan raises the alarm. 2 large hunters, large and armored and standing about 10 feet tall. They're clad in silver armor, with a shield the size of a human body and large green cannons. Spartan scurries back as Chief jumps on the nearest turret, the blast of the turret merely deflecting off their shields before they start firing back. Chief jumps off the turret just in time for a huge green blast to blow it apart. Though dodging the brunt of the blast, Chief's shields are still down, as he uses the raised ridgeline to break line of sight from the hunter's green onslaught. He switches to his sniper, noticing Spartans circling around the well's 7 o'clock. On opposite sides with the hunters in between, Chief takes aim. One hunter is facing him while the other is searching for Spartan, covering each other's backs. Chief hits the hunter looking towards him square in the face, a fatal blow for anything else, completely shrugged off. Chief, amazed, fires 3 more shots into its upper body, all to no avail. Chief reloads. The sniper fire caused the other hunter to turn around, exposing the cracks in his armor to Spartan as he takes him out with 1 shot. Chief quickly fires a shot to ensure the attention of the surviving hunter is on him, as Spartan continues circling around and takes a shot on the hunter, who falls to its knees and dies.
Cortana to Echo 419. We've reached the gravity lift and are ready for reinforcements.
Copy that, Cortana. Hold tight, gentlemen. Bowhammer out.
Once we're inside the ship, I can home in on the captain's command neural interface. They'll probably be in or near the ship's brig, which should narrow our search.
Echo 419 inbound. Clear the drop zone.
Standing in the center of the well, the Pelican dropship is arriving to drop another squad of Marines to take the gravity well up with the Spartans. The back door opens and the Marines deploy and sprint towards the well. Chief, Spartan, and the 5 Marines get levitated by the purple energy of the gravity well straight up to the Covenant ship to continue their mission to save Captain Keyes. Thanks again for watching. This was part 1 of the third mission of Halo Combat Evolved called Truth and Reconciliation. And I want to apologize for this taking so long to come out. Part 2 will be coming a lot sooner than this did, I promise. The thing was, we were recording on Legendary difficulty, which was just stupid. Why I thought going for the trophies and recording this at the same time was ever a good idea was just absolutely stupid, and I apologize. So, sorry, I'm learning. I'm trying to better my craft here. Be sure to let me know how I did, and I did have to use slow motion at times during this video, which was another reason why it took so long. Because so much happened in so little time, and I didn't want our visually impaired friends to miss out on any of the action. Well, let me know how that worked out for you, and if it's better to just keep it at regular speed and cut stuff out. Thanks again for watching. Give the video a like, comment, and subscribe down below, and while you're down there, join the Discord to keep in touch. We're starting to build a nice little community, and I'd love for more people to come hang out. Anyways, this was Soundwave Spectre, and I'll catch you on the next one.